Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Happy Sunday. Happy Easter, if you celebrate. Happy return of Sister Wives. It's a very, very good Sunday. We literally just got back from Alex's aunt and uncle's about, I don't know, probably about 10 minutes ago. He is upstairs in bed and he is relaxing. He's not sure if he's gonna go to bed for the night or not because he's really relaxed and tired. We're more relaxed than tired, but I was like, I'm gonna go vlog right now because if I don't go vlog right now, I'll probably fall asleep for like the next 3 hours. I am so relaxed, I am so peaceful, and I am so calm, and I hope that you guys are as well. I just had such a fantastic night last night. Had a fantastic night the night before. Had a fantastic day today with family. I just feel so relaxed and calm and peaceful. I am already relaxed, rejuvenated, refreshed, and renewed for the week ahead. I'm really just excited about this week. Except for the fact that, so I thought that, I had a hair appointment tomorrow. I can't remember if, and I texted her and she hasn't gotten back to me yet, but I can't remember, Caroline can't do Wednesday this week, and first she said like Tuesday or Thursday, and then at the last minute she switched it, and because she couldn't do it last week. So this week she was like, well, I don't want to miss 2 weeks in a row, so she's like, but I can't do Wednesday, so she's like, can you do, and I can't remember if she said Tuesday or if she said Thursday, and then she switched it. So if she said Thursday first, then she changed it to Tuesday. And if she said Tuesday first, then she switched it to Thursday. And I can't remember which one, but today I got confirmations for 2 appointments on Tuesday. One of which is my hair appointment, which I swore, I always schedule them on Mondays, and I think I scheduled the last one like on a Friday, which I very rarely do, but I usually always make them on Mondays. So I would have sworn that it was on a Monday. In fact, I think I even talked about on here how I have a hair appointment on Monday. So, and then I have a dental appointment that I swore I scheduled on Wednesday, but I scheduled them like an hour apart, both on Tuesday. And I mean, I have them written down in my calendar books and everything for the dental appointment on Wednesday and the hair appointment on Monday. So, but when I looked in at the confirmations, they were both for the 22nd. I was like, anyway, I hardly ever do that. So tomorrow, early, I'm gonna have to get up and I'm gonna have to figure out these appointments. So I'm just gonna kind of call and figure it out. And then now, because this happened, I'm sure Caroline's gonna say she can do Tuesday instead of Thursday. So one of the appointments, the hair appointment's at 12 and the dental appointment's at 1. I would prefer to move the hair appointment, but if she can't, and the dental appointment can get me in quicker, it's not like an immediate thing that I have to go to. So if she, depending on whichever one is like more willing and can move me. I know when I say this, people be like, well, of course you want to move your dental appointment, but if the dental appointment can move me in 2 days, my hairstylist, it's extremely hard to get into. I might not see her for another 6 weeks. So if the dental appointment can get me in like in like 2 days or 3 days or early next week, then I'll switch it to that. If they can't, then I'll of course change the hair appointment. But anyway, so anyway, I'm sure since I schedule all these appointments on Tuesday, it's so weird because I am so organized about this stuff. You guys know I keep like lists and all this kind of stuff. And so every time I make an appointment, like I write it down in my calendar book. And for both of these appointments, like when I go to my hair appointment, we schedule like 4 appointments in advance. And then she texts them to me and I also get an email for them. And so when I come home, I always write them down in my calendar book. And when I made this dental appointment, I did the same thing. I was sitting right here when I talked to her on the phone and I scheduled the appointment. So it's just, I don't know what I don't know. And then I'm sure Caroline's planning on meeting on Tuesday. So whichever appointment I end up switching, they're both, the one's at 12 and one's at 1. And I can't make it to the other, like I couldn't, make it in time. And so, whichever one I go to, I think if Caroline and I are still planning on Tuesday, then I'll just have her pick me up afterwards. Unless they can switch like the timing of it. If they can switch like, if the hairstylist or if they can switch the timing of it, that would be perfect. But I'm just gonna call tomorrow and we'll figure it out. It'll all get worked out. But that was issue number 1. Do you know, this is like such a testament, in all honesty. Let me pat my shoulder for a second. This is such a testament to the work that I've done the last couple years and just where I'm at today. When I talk about peace and serenity not being a luxury in my life today, this is such a testament to how I am today compared to how I was even 2 years ago, let alone 5 years ago, oh my God, 15 years ago. The appointments alone are something that would have rattled me, okay? Number one. Number two, I woke up today and it was the first time in a long time that I felt so filled with anxiety. And I was excited today to go to Alex's aunt and uncles. I was excited to see the kids. I was excited to see my brother and sister-in-law and Alex's mom and everybody, well, aunt and uncle, grandma. I was really excited to see Preciosa, the dog, his aunt and uncle's dog. I was excited about all of it. And last night I had a great night. I got good rest. And so I didn't get too much rest, but I got good rest. And so it was like, I woke up and Alex was like in bed and he was like looking at TikToks. And he was like, I don't know how I looked when I woke up, but he goes, are you okay? And I go, no. Like, I haven't felt like this in a while. I felt like I was like shaking. And I said, so he got up, because we had like 45 minutes until we had to leave. And so he got up, and I said, are you going to start getting ready and taking a shower and stuff? And he said, yeah. I said, let me just lay here for like 15 minutes while you're getting ready. I said, I should probably come out of it. So that was kind of how I started my day. And then Alex took a shower. And he was like in there and he was doing like, he uses like special shampoo and conditioner for having curly hair. And so he was doing like the whole 9 yards in the shower. And so like one day on the weekend, he'll take like a really long shower and he does like all his hair stuff and whatever. And so that was the shower. And it was like, he took like a 25 minute shower. And so finally I got up and I like trimmed my beard and I shaved and stuff like that. Still felt real anxious. It just wasn't going away. And Alex is like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. I just feel really, really anxious. And he was like, we don't have to go. I said, I'm not missing this. I'm not missing my family staying. Like, I'm not going to let this stand in the way of me. Like, I'm not doing that. And so I was like, I'll come out of it. I don't really know what's going on. It's weird. Like, I don't know. It's so many of you guys have shared your stories of having generalized anxiety disorder, which that's not what my doctor and therapist thinks I have. They still think it's situational. But so many of you have shared the stories with me that I think there is, and I probably, in all honesty, until I had it myself, I probably shared a very similar stance on it, that like, if somebody said like, I'm feeling really anxious today, I think my go-to response would be, and even though I've explained this to people in my life, like Alex, Tanya, I don't think unless you go through it yourself, well, Tanya has experienced it, but even she'll say like, is something like upsetting you? Or I'm like, no, I don't think like, and the people in my life, God love them, I am just surrounded by the best support system, you know, from Alex and my sponsor and Tanya and, you know, Nikki and Mel and Caroline and, you know, my family and everything, that people are always just so gentle with me, which I'm so appreciative of. But I think like the go-to response is typically like, well, what's going on? Like, what's stressing you out, or like what's bringing on the anxiety? I think that when I first started feeling this way, I thought that there should be something, if that makes sense. Like, for me to have that extreme of a response, that there should be something like that. And then my therapist said to me, I think it was my therapist that said to me, you know, that a lot of people that he knew that had anxiety, typically it was when they were the calmest or most peaceful that it would come out. And sometimes it was kind of like this attitude of like, when's the next shoe gonna fall kind of thing. But a lot of times it was just when they were really relaxed and calm. It was like their body's reaction to not knowing how to respond to that feeling or that emotion, or just that's when it would come out. That was like the one thing about anxiety that I never like knew or I understood at all until I experienced it myself. I would have to say, you know, since I started experiencing it after Boo passed away, I would say, if I had to put like a percentage on it, just a guesstimation, 95 to 98% of the time, the anxiety, when it hits me hard, it hits me when I'm feeling the most calm and the most peaceful, which is so bizarre. Like, I never would have thought that, you know? I think my go-to response, if somebody said, I'm feeling really anxious today, is, I think in a caring way, because people always approach me, I mean, Alex always asks me, like, is there something going on? Like, is there something? I'm like, no, like, I feel good, you know? Like, emotionally, I feel good about things, so I don't know what it is. I think that's like the biggest misconception about, and I'm not gonna say that there aren't things that bring it on, but it's gonna sound kind of strange when I say this, you know, is like, I've talked a lot on my Peterism's channel, I've talked a lot about it over here too. It would almost make sense if this was how I felt, let's say 30 years ago when I got sober. Because I think growing up in chaos, like, you know, growing up with an alcoholic mom, growing up, you know, I grew up in a lot of chaos. And so as I got older, I want to open this Dr. Pepper, by the way. First of all, I have this Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper. I had 1/2 cup of a coffee while I was at Alex's aunt and uncle's. So I'm like, I want to have a little Diet Dr. Pepper. I don't think I've had one of these in a while. Actually, as I was bringing it out here, I was like, when was the last time that I had, I said, was it just the other day? I said, was that a cup of coffee? I couldn't remember what it was. So anyway, it feels like I bought this case or this 12-pack like 2 months ago, and I have it anyway. You know, like, I grew up in so much chaos that, see, like, even myself, like, this is gonna sound crazy, like, I was thinking a lot about my mom last night. I was thinking a lot about Easters and stuff, and then my head goes, well, maybe that's what brought it about. I think I am even though so many, like that's what I was gonna say, so many of you have shared the story with me that have generalized anxiety disorder, have experienced what I'm experiencing, which is not, like I said, I wish to be honest with you, it would make more sense if I did have a diagnosis like that, because I could better understand it. Sometimes this in between is what's confusing to me, but those of you that have shared with me typically are ones that have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. And the only reason I'm clarifying that is because I do feel like that's more serious, and I appreciate you guys sharing that with me than what I'm going through. And so I'm really saying it because I don't want to minimize your experiences, if that makes sense. But like, even in my head still, I think I go to kind of like, so many of you have shared with me that it comes out the most in you when you're feeling the most relaxed or peaceful. That has been so helpful for those of you that have shared that story with me. I mean, you'll say every once in a while it's because of something, and I know that, but most often it comes out, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It just comes out of nowhere. It's not even maybe a peaceful or relaxed thing, it comes out of nowhere. It's not because, like, I think my understanding of it before was like like A happens, then B, the anxiety hits, which is not how it works for me. And so many of you have shared with me that that's not, and I'm so appreciative of your stories. You know, as a person in recovery, I believe there's no greater power than one person sharing their story with another. And the amount of people that have left comments, the amount of people that have emailed me, direct messaged me about their own experiences with anxiety, even depression and things like that, really was a normalizing factor for me. It just was so helpful. I'm just so grateful for it. This little bird is eating the food that I put down here for the bunny rabbit last night. So, but you know, had this happened to me 30 years ago, I think, like I said, I grew up in so much chaos. When I got sober at, you know, 22 and a half in December 17th of 1994, this is about to flow over. I wasn't used to like peace and serenity. I wasn't used to not having chaos in my life. One of the things that I don't really talk a lot about on here, I've actually talked to Caroline about, like, what is that? Oh my God, we're getting a package on a Sunday. Let me get this package and I will be back in, oh my gosh. I can't believe I caught it. It was like falling, it's like falling as I'm catching it. Okay, I will be back in two and two. Okay, I'm back. It wasn't for me, it was for Alex. Anyway, now I'm worried this is gonna fall. I like set the little, like, there's a thing on the side of it, it's like this button you push inside, but it goes down anyway. Anyway, I think it's good. Okay, yeah, I talked to Caroline about it. She's like, I mean, Caroline said, share whatever you want to share online. I think I've kind of hinted at it, and I've shared some of it online, but, like, our mothers were so close. And I think now, like, okay, one of the reasons why I am so interested in knowing not just the history of my grandma going to prison, but the history of our mothers being in foster care, wanting to know, were they placed together, were they separated, things like that, is because two women that came from the same home of a father that passed when my mom was 4 and her sister was 6, that grew up mostly with a single mother until my grandmother got remarried to a stepfather that nobody liked. I mean, there were times that my mom would tell good stories about him, but it ended horribly. And my grandmother just had this horrible life, right? And I don't feel like I know a lot about it, but what I do know is that the way that my mom and my aunt moved through the world was so completely different from each other. And the way that Caroline was parented and the way that I was parented were very different as well. You know, our moms were like, I think they were like a year apart, and a year and a half apart. I think I looked it up. Didn't I look it up one time? It was like, it was closer than I thought it was. Anyway, and they were super, super close. But my mom looked at my sister to like always, or my mom looked at my sister. My mom looked at my aunt. My mom would say, and I don't know if this was around them going into foster care or going into, because my mom and I never had those conversations. She would say we were fostered off. She would never say foster care. And she would say it was to family. But my mom would say to me that my grandma would say to my aunt, and she would call my mom sister, and she would say, now you know it's your job always to take care and watch after sister. And my aunt would tell me those same stories too. My mom passed away, which is coming up on 17 years this next month. When my mom passed away, I remember in the hospital room, like my aunt was like, she couldn't even leave the room. Like they were like, let's give Peter a moment alone and things like that. And my aunt was like, I mean, she was screaming at the nurse. I mean, she was fully prepared for it. She knew it was going to happen, you know, but like she was screaming at the nurse. And she's like, where's she going to go? Where's she going to go? And the nurse was trying to be really nice. And she was like, well, we're going to take her downstairs. My aunt was like, downstairs where? Like, I need to go with her. Like, she can't be alone. Like, and I don't really know how to explain this any other way than like, I knew, like my aunt knew that she had passed, but like she didn't know what her role was other than to always take care of my mom. It's gonna get me choked up talking about it. I have felt my mom's spirit around me the last 24 hours. I don't know if it's Easter, I don't know if it's just memories, I don't know what it is, but Caroline and I were texting about that last night because she's like, I'm gonna host Easter next year. I was like, Caroline, you don't have to host Easter. She's like, but we always had such great memories of Easter. We did. It was such a great holiday for us. But I can remember seeing my aunt in the room that day, and she just was like inconsolable, you know, like she didn't know who she was supposed to be in this world, because she had always been, like ever since my mom had been born, the one that was supposed to take care of my mom, and she didn't know who she was supposed to be. But as close as they were, they also fought horribly. I mean, they fought horribly, like physically fought. Like when they were growing up, even into adulthood, like right before my grandma passed away, my mom, or my aunt, my cousin Caroline at that point was cleaning my grandma's apartment like weekly. And she was over there. It was like right after my grandma had passed away, Caroline went over there to like clean some stuff, and my mom and my aunt were over there, and they like were like fighting over like this. They weren't fighting over anything, nothing like. I am so grateful, I will say this, being an only child, and then my aunts, my mom and my aunt they never fought over, first of all, there wasn't any real money or anything like that with my mom. I mean, there really wasn't, you know. My grandma definitely, I mean, there was no money, but they didn't fight over any possessions. They didn't fight over any pictures, I mean, or jewelry or any of that. There was none, you know. I have seen so many friends of mine that they like with their siblings, like they'll be like, I just don't even want to answer the phone because like mom or dad isn't even passed yet, and like all they want to talk about is, are we going to sell the house? How are we going to split it? You know, you're in charge of the estate. Who gets mom's ear? It's like, I know that to some people those things are important, but like in that moment, like it's all reduced to that, like makes me so sad. I'm glad that's a piece of it, that I don't ever, you know, like have to go through. I will say this, like one of my biggest fears, and I'm saying this for the only children out there. I said this to Nikki not too long ago because Nikki's an only child too. I'm saying this to the only children out there because one of my biggest fears growing up as a kid was having to go through my parents being sick or my parents passing as an only child. Like in my teens, 20s, 30s, that was always a fear of mine. Like, I'm gonna have to do this all on my own. Number one, I didn't have to do it all on my own because people really showed up. You know, my mom's friends, my mom, our family friend, my mom's friends, my aunt, family friends, my friends really showed up for me through that whole thing. And so I didn't have to do it alone. But when it came to like like preparing the funeral or picking the songs. Like my aunt was like, well, what do you think about this or whatever? But she was like, you do it. It's all you. You know, when it came to all that kind of like the legal stuff, like it was all just me. There was no arguing. There was no fighting. And as lonely as it kind of felt in that moment, I can remember thinking, I've had so many friends of mine that in these moments are like, well, Mom would have rather had this song than that song. It's like they're fighting over who's putting together the funeral flyer and stuff. It's just, I don't know, or who's getting Mom's car. It's just like all that kind of stuff. Like I just didn't deal with it. I just didn't have to deal with it at all. And as an only child, I think it was one of my biggest fears. Like, what am I going to do? I have no siblings, you know. I don't really have an extended family other than my in-laws. What am I going to do in that situation? You know, even my dad and my stepmom really showed up. And I mean, my dad spoke at my mom's funeral. My stepmom was there. My stepmom and my mom got along very, very well by the end of my mom's life. I don't remember them ever really, like, hating each other. I mean, there were some incidents that happened when my dad started dating her earlier. Some kind of funny things in retrospect. I think I've shared the story on here before. My mom didn't want to go in the hospital. And this was the first time. And my stepmom finally came in. Maybe it was the second time, because I think that's when my dad called me to go over there. And we were all standing there. My mom was like, I'm not going in. I'm not, like, if I'm going to die, I want to die at home. And she didn't even know if she was dying at that point or whatever. And my stepmom came in. And my mom was in the wheelchair. And I'll never forget, my mom looked up at her. And she said, I was standing by the door, and my stepmom came in. She said, you know, my stepmom was, like, her parents were divorced and remarried, and she had step-parents, like, when she was, like, my age as well. And one of the most fantastic things that my stepmom ever said to me, she said, I think it was around the time that my grandma died, so I was, like, 12 or 13, she said, I don't want to be your mother, and I'm not going to be your friend, but we can have a special relationship that's different than anybody else can have, because I'm your stepmother, and that's a completely different relationship. And I'm so grateful for that. It was just such a cool way to explain it to me, I think. But I remember she came in, and it was like my mom, my aunt, I think I don't know if Caroline was there, my dad, it was like a bunch of people. And my mom was like, and the doctors, and my mom was like refusing to go in. And she was in this wheelchair, and she was real weak. Like, I mean, I thought she was gonna die that day. And my stepmom came in, and she like came to me, and she was like, I could tell she'd been crying, and she said I didn't know what to do. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, I've been like driving around. I didn't think it was my place to show up. She goes, but I called my mom. And she said, and my mom told me, she was like, no, you're his stepmom. You're part of this family. Like, go. Like, you need to be there. And she did, and she came. And my dad looked at her, and she was like, what's the problem? Like, my stepmom took over. And she came in, and like, my mom and my stepmom were, I mean, like, they co-parented fantastic. Probably more than my mom and my dad did, honestly. But like, it wasn't like my mom and my stepmom were ever great friends. They just weren't. I think they mutually respected each other, you know? But she came in, and she looked at my dad, and my dad's like, she's refusing to go in, kind of like he just didn't know what to do. And I'll never forget, my stepmom came over, and she stood over my mom, and my mom looked up at her, and she just said, you look so pretty. She's like, you always look so pretty. And my stepmom got down on her knees, and she took her hand. She said, look at your hand. And my mom's hand, like, had no blood. It was, like, so pale. And she said, look at your hand, now look at my hand. And she said, I don't know why this still gets me so emotional all these years later. It's like, I think back, you know, on, like, the early years and, like, the bickering and just the bullshit, you know, like. And then the person that gets my mom to go into the hospital is my stepmom. I mean, like, that's grace, right? Like, and she looked at her and she said, you have no blood pumping through. You need to go into the hospital. And I'll never forget, like, I was standing kind of back, and she looked, and she turned back to me, and she goes, I guess if she said I need to go in the hospital, I need to go in the hospital. Like, it just was like, what? Like, you won't listen to any of us, but you're listening to her? You know, it was kind of this, it was hilarious in all honesty, but, like, and she went in, you know. And I'm so grateful for my stepmom for that. Like, but my mom did not like phony representations of people. She didn't like when people passed away that they were sainted. she liked when people would point out like the positive and the good things about people. But if that person was an asshole, she wanted somebody to say, no, you know what? Like, they could be an asshole at times. Like, my mom wanted the real deal told. And I've shared this before. I think, you know, I talk a lot about the wisdom that my mom had, or funny stories about her, how loving she was. My mom could be a very difficult person, too. My mom could be a very difficult person. I think struggled with mental health her whole life in a way that I didn't really understand as a child. You know, I mean, we live in a world now of diagnoses, therapy, all that stuff is really normal to a lot of people. Even if it's not accessible financially, it's really normal to a lot of people. I grew up in an era where you didn't really talk about those things. I mean, I grew up in an era where, like, today people are like, hello, teacher, I'm bipolar. I grew up in an era where it was called manic depression and you didn't talk about it. I grew up in an era, like, you know, today people will talk about needing to take, you know, mental health breaks, and I think that's fantastic. I think it's fantastic that work acknowledges that. I grew up with a mother that wouldn't get out of bed for 3 days, and I didn't understand what was going on, and I was scared to death, and I didn't want to tell anybody, because I was so protective of my mom. And then she would come out of it, and then she manically cleaned the house for 2 days, and I didn't understand what was going on. And then she'd come out of that, and she was Little House on the Prairie cooking a dinner, and she was back to normal. And then 2 days later, she'd be drunk in the library, listening to Fleetwood Mac and Judy Collins and Bob Dylan on repeat. That's a lot of chaos to grow up in, you know? And this is the thing that we don't talk about, because I think sometimes when you grow up in it, you become so angry at mental health and addiction. I know I did, and I know I didn't understand it. And so you grow up in it, and, you know, it's interesting because it's like, people have said to me in the past on my vlogs, well, if your dad knew this and your dad knew that, like, why did your dad not do that? And my dad did know, you know, and I don't really know what to tell you about the late 70s and the early 80s. That just wasn't the game you played. It just wasn't. I think it's one of the reasons in retrospect that I saw my dad so often. I think it's one of the reasons why my dad called me every morning and every night. I don't think it was just... I think it was him being a really great father, but I also think it wasn't just him to make sure I got home from school and to say goodnight. I think it was also him basically checking in, you know? Like, are things good there, kind of thing, without saying that. My dad was very protective of my mom. He was very protective of her image as well. I did talk to my dad when I was growing up as a kid about her drinking, but I definitely didn't talk on the level that I do now, at all. And we didn't talk about that, you know? I think everybody knew. I will also say this, is that most of the people that I grew up around when I was growing up had cocktail hours. I mean, like, all my mom's friends, all my aunt's friends. My aunt drank a lot. My uncle drank a lot. And then he just stopped one day. You know, like, I mean, and it wasn't because he got sober. And he never was an alcoholic. He just stopped. He just, like, he would, like, later in life, like, I didn't even know this, but he had gone back to, like, you know, every day he would have a glass of wine or, like, a small glass of scotch. Like, my dad knew that. I didn't even know that. But, like, if we went over there for, like, Thanksgiving, like, no, he wouldn't really drink or anything like that. My aunt and my uncle both stopped smoking cigarettes. My aunt would have one, like, a funeral cigarette, like, once a year or something like that with her friends when they would go to a friend's funeral or something like that. But my whole life growing up, my mom and my aunt drank a lot. And my grandma hated it because my grandma was what they called a teetotaler. I don't know if we use that word today, but she didn't drink at all, and she hated it. What I think in retrospect is that my grandfather was probably an alcoholic. He was a bartender. So my mom and my aunt fought a lot. And when we got older... even after my mom got sober, a lot of holidays, and this is how Caroline and I got really close, part of it. A lot of holidays, because my uncle would just leave the room. And people would always say, like, Caroline's dad, my mom would listen to me and Caroline's dad, but nobody else. Like, she wouldn't really listen. She would listen to us, but, like, she didn't really trust anybody. She, like, had a hard time trusting it. I don't know what that is. She had an undying love for her sister, Kathy. Undying love. Like, bizarre love. But my aunt would say to me sometimes, she would call me and she'd say, if your mother was not my sister, she would not be in my life because she's so difficult at times. She was difficult with my aunt in a way that she wasn't difficult with me. My mom would have long, especially after she got sober, months, 9 months to a year, nothing whatsoever, and then there'd be something that happened, you know? I mean, I can just like, right off the top of my head, my mom and I and my ex were walking in. I mean, this was my mom at the time, 10 years sober or something like that. Maybe longer than that. I don't know what holiday it was, but it was icy outside. And my mom always brought the deviled eggs. Have I shared this story before? And she had a deviled egg tray. And she kind of slipped on the ice, and the deviled eggs went onto the ice. So we go inside. My mom set off about that. And my aunt has some other people over for whatever holiday it was. And my mom is standing in the kitchen. My mom, who goes over there 5 times a week. This is the house that was right over here that Caroline grew up in. And my aunt's like, to her friends, like, would you like a glass of wine? Would you like a scotch and soda? Would you like a Diet Coke? Whatever. And my mom stood there for like 10 minutes. Because she would test my aunt sometimes. And then she said, you're not going to ask me if I want something? And my aunt said, you come over here 5 times a week. You're welcome to anything in my entire house. Get in the cabinets. Get it yourself. You know how to get it. And my mom, in front of all these people, said, so I'm not a guest. So you don't acknowledge me as a guest. And then my mom was like, well, I can leave if I'm not a guest. And that's how my mom could be. She could be very difficult. But you never knew when it was going to come. Because it could be one moment she was fantastic and she was loving and kind. And then her and my aunt got along great. Or we could go over there, my mom would be in a great mood, and my aunt would be really, really difficult. You know? I mean, you never knew. And they grew up in chaos. And the only reason I'm sharing all this is to understand that I think that, like, so, like, it was like light switches, like, between Caroline and I when we would get together for family, you know, situations. Because and the other thing was when my mom got sober, obviously my aunt didn't. And my mom really never, like, the one person, she could spot somebody drunk 10 miles away. But when it came to my aunt, my mom never knew. My mom, and I don't know how, I mean, anybody else could, but my mom would be like, I would say, why did you even get into a discussion with her about this? And she'd say, I said, Mom, Aunt Kathy had been drinking a little bit. No, she hadn't. She didn't have anything. I'd be like, Mom, yes, she had. There was a full-on fight at my mom's 60th birthday in Chicago over a property line definition. Because my aunt was a realtor, and my mom got into it with her about, you don't know what a zero property line is? We're in a restaurant, okay? Outside of Boys Town in Chicago. A very expensive restaurant. And they're literally at each other, clawing at each other's arms in this booth. It was so bad. I mean, it just was like, they were those kinds of siblings. They were either hugging like undying love, or they were like, it could be bad. So when we would sense that, Caroline and I would like kind of look at each other like, we got to keep them apart for a little bit. So I'd take my mom over to my Uncle Dave, and, you know, my Aunt Kathy and I would talk in the kitchen, whatever, you know? And that's just kind of how we did things. And we always thought that, you know, at the end, like, they'd probably be 90 years old, living together in a retirement home and fighting and loving. I mean, their relationship was like one day, like, they loved each other. I mean, they undying love for each other. Protectiveness, like, I have never seen between two sisters in my entire life. I do not know what happened when they were younger, but it brought them so close together. But at the same time, I don't know, it just was, they fought. They fought. They either fought a lot or they fought not at all. I don't know. And, you know, and then I say that to Alex, and Alex is like, that's typical sibling relationships. I'm like, well, I didn't grow up with that, so I don't know. But I did grow up with so much chaos in the home and just surrounding all of that, that it would have made more sense that when I got sober, like, Tanya and I talk a lot about getting used to peace and serenity, which I know sounds crazy. You know, you see these wellness retreats, these, you know, meditation places, what I don't know, not resorts, but like spas and things. It's like, I think that's what we think about when we talk about peace and serenity. I'm talking about the concept, okay, the philosophical concept of just feeling peaceful. Like, that was not normal to me. I functioned better earlier on, problem solving, living in chaos, living in this all the time. Like, that was more comfortable for me. I was more used to that. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about growing up in chaos. I could do fine in chaos, okay? You know, give me a 2 o'clock in the morning phone call, somebody crying, bawling their eyes out. Give me, you know, my mom and my aunt screaming at each other, Caroline and I having to put them in different rooms. I mean, that stuff I could do easily. What I couldn't do was peace and serenity. Well, when I got sober, and then my mom got sober, things changed. I mean, it was real peaceful. There wasn't the drama and the hysterics and all that kind of stuff. Even between my mom and my aunt, it got much better. And so, it would have made more sense if I would have had this anxiety response then. if it was really about, but it's 30 years later. I will tell you the weirdest thing. Okay, so this was the other thing I was going to say. So first it was I woke up with anxiety. Then Alex got out of the shower. I had trimmed my beard and shaved. Then I got in the shower. Well, I'm in the shower for about 3 minutes, and I'm having to turn up the water. It's getting colder and colder and colder. Our water typically doesn't do that. It doesn't matter. I mean, he could have taken an hour shower, and it typically doesn't do that. Our water is pretty good. It stays pretty warm. I'm like, what's going on? So I get out. Well, here's the thing, okay? Even if the shower goes cold because one of us takes a long shower, which, like I said, doesn't typically happen. It happens, but I would say maybe twice a year. Even if it happens, the sink, the bathroom sink, always will stay really, like, boiling hot if you turn it to hot. So I get out, and I'm, like, drying off, and he's standing there, and I said, I think that something's wrong with our water heater. We're now, like, 10 minutes away from exiting the house to go to his aunt and uncle's house. He's like, nothing's wrong with the water heater. I go, well, the shower went cold real quick. I had to take a cold shower. And he goes, I said, unless you used all the hot water. And he goes, well, I took mostly a cold shower. He goes, because it's so hot in here. Our house is so hot. It still hasn't cooled down from the other day, which is kind of fantastic, but the same. It was cold last night. It was like 60. So he said, well, I took mostly like a colder shower because it's so hot in here. And I said, well, I don't know, but I'm telling you right now. He goes, well, maybe I did use hotter. I don't know. He goes, I don't know why it's gone. So anyway, so I turned the sink on, and the hot water, like, it was lukewarm, and then it went cold. I was like, what is going on? So I dry off, lotion up, put my robe on, and I go to the basement to look at the water heater, as if I'm anybody that knows what this shit's about. Okay, let's just put that out there first of all. As if Alex and I have any clue about the water heater whatsoever. That we should even be having a conversation about it is ridiculous. Okay. So I go down, remembering the guy that came from the gas company, remember, that I said was real nice and stuff. And he said, like, you can hear the sounds, you can hear whatever. And so I touch it, and it's hot at the bottom. And I'm like, and you can hear the sound. So I, having absolutely no clue what I'm doing whatsoever, push the red button for the pilot light again. Why not? Why wouldn't you, right? And then I go back upstairs thinking, well, our house is either going to burn down or it'll fix it. So I go upstairs and I get dry. Alex comes downstairs. Unbeknownst to me, he goes in the basement. Feels the side of it, listens, hits the red button. I mean, it's literally like two idiots running a house. I mean, we don't really know what we're doing, you know what I mean? So anyway, so then I said to him, because our neighbors down here had this gas leak. So then I'm like, do we have a gas leak? Like, is our house going to burn down? I mean, I don't know how any of that stuff works, right? And he goes, well, do you think we have we're leaving, right? We're going to his aunt and uncle's house. There's something we can do about it now. And God forbid we're not missing Easter Sunday dinner, you know? And I said, you know, I'm thinking like Caroline and Mike. Like, he would just say, I'm not coming. Like, we're going to fix this. And then if I make it over there, I'll make it. We just go, you know? So, because I think that's probably what most people would do. They'd probably stay and fix it and then be like, we're just going to be late. No, not us. We're like, well, Alex is like, we'll just figure it out when we get home. I'm like, okay. So we're driving down there and I said, do you think it's a gas leak? Like, I said, the pool crew people's names. And he goes, well, wasn't it like behind their house? And I go, I didn't smell behind the house, did you? This is literally our conversation. He goes, I didn't even think to smell behind the house. I go, well, wouldn't it smell in the basement? He goes, I don't know. So anyway, so that's the second thing. Then the third thing is, as we're driving over there, I get the confirmation for this appointment, okay? And I'm like, so then I go in, and I'd already gotten the confirmation for my hair appointment, but I didn't look at it, because when it came up, I was like, oh, it's Monday. Thank God it just happened, because I wouldn't have known. I would have showed up there on Monday thinking I had a hair appointment. So I'm like, I want to check and make sure, because I look at it, and it said Tuesday, and I was like, no, that appointment's Wednesday, but I don't have my calendar book, because my calendar book's next to my computer in the living room. So I'm like, I'm almost positive. So I go back up to look when I can, like, schedule it and confirmed it. Sure enough, it was for Tuesday. So I'm like, when is my hair? I'm like, in my head, thinking through all my appointments for this week, right? I'm like, okay, hair appointment on Monday. Now this dental appointment was supposed to be on Wednesday is now Tuesday. Caroline, lunch with my dad and my stepmom and Alex. And I'm like, okay, when is all this? So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, did I literally schedule all this stuff on the same day? Not even, I mean, this is so not like me. And not at all. I know I'm going to go in there anyway. So I have, like the calendar book says, I wrote it down on the dates that are wrong, first of all, right? So I think I got a piece of paper in there somewhere where I wrote it down. And I'm sure I wrote it down like Monday, April 22nd. When it's Tuesday, April 22nd. But I probably wrote it down Monday, April 22nd. And then put it in my book as Monday, not looking at the April 22nd. Does that make sense? I never do this. Like, my calendar book is so specific, okay? So anyway, I mean, I keep everything on there. So, and like, I said to Alex, I go, I think I double booked appointments on Tuesday. And he goes, you did? And I go, yeah. And I said, and I think that might be the day that Caroline's coming to pick me up. And he's like, well, can you make it to both appointments? I said, I could. I said, except for that I have to Uber from one to the other, and it's too far away. I said, unless they can change the times or whatever. I said, I'm just going to call on Monday. Okay, that alone, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, definitely would have, it would have ruined my whole day. I just would have been like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. The gas, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Let alone the anxiety of how I woke up. It's a blessing. It's a blessing, you know? And I put that firmly on my higher power. You know, that I believe that without my higher power, I couldn't do any of that. So, and that's just what I believe. You don't have to believe that. But I don't know. And like, you guys sharing the stories with me about, you know, calm and peace. And I don't know. It's just like, there was something about today, and I was like, I'm not borrowing this anymore, you know? I will say something on a side note that's kind of strange. So today was such a great day, but we'll get to that in a second. I was talking to Tanya the other night. We were talking about the meeting that we went to on Tuesday. Like I said, we went to a different meeting. And Tanya said something to me kind of funny. She said, well, not funny, but I thought interesting. She goes, you know, it's interesting because I don't go to that many new meetings with you anymore. And she said, and you're so comfortable around me. She goes, I forget about how bad your social anxiety is, okay? So, you know, I hang out with the same 3 or 4 people all the time. So, when I'm with somebody, and I've talked about this before, but I'm just sharing the story for anybody that has social anxiety out there to maybe validate you or so you feel comfortable. Because I've been working on it for a long time in therapy, you know? And it was interesting what Tanya said to me. She said, when you got in the car, when Alex dropped you off at my house, she said, I could already tell you were nervous. And I said I was. I said, because I didn't know who was going to be at this meeting. You said I know half the people, but I don't know. I always get, I share this a lot on here. It makes me very nervous to go to new meetings that I've never been to before. Because I don't know, like, who's going to be. It all stems back, I think, from my childhood. And not just from the bullying. I think just who I am as a person. I think it stems from all of that. But I think it's carried over so much in adulthood. She goes, you know, when we got there, you knew a lot of people. She goes, but I didn't really see you relax until about halfway through the meeting. She goes, what was strange is, she goes, I don't ever notice any of your OCD traits at all. She goes, and she said something about the tapping. She goes, I noticed the tapping come out while we were sitting there, which was so weird because it was like, the tapping never comes out. And that night I was nervous. And she was like, were you aware of that? And I said, I was actually aware of that. She goes, well, I felt so bad for you. She was like, but I don't, like, we've had a lot of talks about, like, how to ask about it or whatever. And I said, Tanya, I don't know, like, I've worked so hard on the social anxiety. I'm not going to let it stop me from enjoying my life. I'm not going to let it stop me from going and doing the things, like going to a new meeting with you. But yeah, it is really hard for me to, the camera stopped. I can't believe I'm at 30 minutes. Well, now it's probably like 40 some minutes because it's, you know, before, with the package I got delivered for Alex. But I told Tanya, I said, before, I would have let the social anxiety put me in a position where I would never, like, go do anything. I'm not doing that anymore. Like, even if it's scary for me, like, when Tanya texted me that night, she was like, do you want to try this new meeting? I just was like, and I told her this the other night. I said, like, everything inside of me was like, no, I don't want to go. Like, let's just, you know, do this. And I said, yeah, sure, let's go. Because I was just like, if you agree to it now, there's no backing out of it. I try to do that now. Oh, we were talking about how, like 3 or 4 people have asked me to do stuff in the last week. And it's really strange because it's like all different kinds of groups of people. It's like these 2 women that I've been friends with for like 20 years, probably 25 years. And then I hadn't heard from them in a long time. And then it was like another friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a while. But I was like, I told Tanya, I said, like, it's so weird in planning things. And she said, well, it's almost like, it doesn't feel like, I don't know really how to explain it. It's like isolating, I feel like, it's like I don't want to be around people. it's like I only really feel comfortable being around people that I see on a regular basis or I know on a regular basis. Like, all these people I love, and I know they love me and I care about them, but I haven't seen them in, like, it's been a long time, and it makes me really uncomfortable. It makes it very comfortable for me to live in a very small world, which I think, you know, I don't know, like, for a long time, Alex's mom and I were talking about it today, you know, because she was saying that, I was telling her, I said, it's so nice that your friends come to visit you because she lives, like, farther away and stuff like that. And she's like, well, it's really easy. I think they know it's easy for me to just not go anywhere and just stay at home in my condo. She said, because it's so far away, and I can just use that as an excuse. She goes, but I'm finding myself, not trying to, she is finding herself just wanting to, like, be at home a lot more. And I said, well, I like to be at home too because I feel just, like, safe and things like that. I don't know. But anyway, the anxiety stuff, with the OCD stuff, I do think the OCD stuff comes out when other stuff is going on. And it hardly ever does anymore. It hardly ever does. So it's weird that both Tanya and I both noticed it at the meeting with the social anxiety. That in that situation, I didn't feel like I had it. I mean, I know enough about the OCD now to understand this, that in that situation, I didn't feel like I had any control. So my rituals started coming, well, one ritual started coming out, which that's something that I've, like, my therapist and I have worked so hard on it. It's like, I would say at this point, it's probably 90% gone, like, in all honesty, or not active today. I mean, he said that it could return, but, and the anxiety doesn't really ever come out, you know, the social anxiety is still something that I'm working on, but, like, I won't let it stop me from doing things that I want to do. But then the question is, like, how bad do I really want to do it? You know, in all honesty, when somebody reaches out to me and is like, do you want to go dinner? Do you want to, I'm kind of pretty quick to say no to stuff, like, or I don't really know, like, I'm kind of busy, you know, whatever, like, let me get back. Like, that's typically what I say, let me get back to you because I don't know. And that's not a definite no. Like, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I will like to do that. You know, like, maybe I would want to go do that. It just takes a lot for me to get to that point. I don't know, but I woke up today full on. Like, it wasn't a panic attack, but I just felt so shaky internally, and it lasted, and I haven't felt that way for a while. But, like, what I was saying was, there's, like, 3 things, you know, that happened with that, the gas, and then the scheduling of appointments. And I just kind of was like, okay. But here's the weird thing. Are you ready for it? So I felt that way the whole way that we went to Alex. Here, this is about a dog. Are you ready? I felt that way the whole way to Alex's aunt and uncle's house. We go in the door. First of all, Preciosa has grown so much since I saw her last. She is such a sweetheart. Here she is, walking on her. Look at her. But man, I put this on my Instagram. I picked that dog up immediately. And she just loves me so much. So I'm carrying this dog around. And I look over and Alex is smiling at me. And I smiled at him and I go, my anxiety is gone. It was the weirdest thing. You know, so many people have suggested, they're like, maybe the anxiety, look at her kissing on my face. She's so sweet. Look at that, Preciosa. I love her so much. Here she is laying on the floor because it was hot. So that was right next to where the screen door goes out to their patio and gazebo. I love her so much. Here she is kissing my face when I first came in the door. But anyway, oh, you guys want to see this? Look, what I caught right outside. I'm an official squirrel film. Watch, it turns halfway. You guys want to hear it? Hold on. I'm standing right by Alex's Jeep. You can hear it in the background. Look at it. I'm officially a squirrel channel now. So anyway, I took like 3 videos of that squirrel. And it was so funny because I was showing it to Alex's uncle when Carlos and Liliana and the kids came in. And Carlos goes, he was like, dude, are you talking about that squirrel out there? And I was like, yeah. He goes, Liliana was out there taking pictures of that squirrel too, that big fat squirrel. I was like, well, I didn't think it was fat. And he goes, that big squirrel out there? So anyway, I held on to Preciosa the whole day, and she was so sweet. She's just running all over the house. Anyway, a lot of people have speculated. They were like, maybe the anxiety like was under control because you had Boo and the other dogs, and maybe it like it settled down because, or maybe it came out because Boo has passed away. I don't know. Maybe it did. I have no idea, you know? All I know is that I felt so relaxed, or maybe having a pet is comforting to me. I don't know, or being around one. She's so sweet. She's the sweetest little girl. So yeah, so we went over there today, and then Alex's uncle, he made this huge fruit bowl of like pineapple, cantaloupe, watermelon, blueberries. It was so good. He loves to cook. And then he made 2 quiches, and then macaroni and cheese from Costco, which is Alex's favorite. I don't understand what's going on down here. Now, this is my pool crew lady, and she's walking down the street. Do you remember the other day I said her husband was walking back the street and he looked like he had packages? She's walking down the street and she's carrying something that looks like a package or a book. I think they made some new friends, and I'm not happy about it. I feel like I'm being cheated on by my pool crew people. Not on the corners, their neighbors. I'm joking. But her brother moved in over there. I'm like, are you moving your whole family in here? I can't tell you. In this little small neighborhood, there are 2 sisters that live, well, there's a house in between them down here by the pool. I told you guys about them. There's 2 other sisters. One moved in over there. She's now dating a guy down there. And then her sister moved into her mom's condo after her mom passed away over there. So there's 2 sisters that live in here. Oh, this other sister over here. Now, my neighbor across the street, the gardener, her and her best friend, that both garden, she lives in this neighborhood too. There's like several family members that live in this neighborhood. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, I was just talking about my mom and my aunt. Oh my God, as much as they fought, but they would have, my mom would have loved if my aunt moved in here. Well, that's one of the reasons why my mom moved into this neighborhood. My aunt was like, no, because the condos that my mom looked at were on the other side. The ones that are right behind our condos were the other condos that my mom looked at. And my aunt was like, well, my mom liked this neighborhood better. And my aunt was like, and it's closer to us. My aunt was like, you could just walk to us if you wanted to. And so that was one of the reasons why she moved in here. But my mom would have loved if my Aunt Kathy and my Uncle Dave were in here. Oh my God, she would have been over there every single night. See, it's so weird telling that story. It's because, like, they fought, and when they fought hard. And they were both difficult women. I mean, I love them both. I never had any issues with my Aunt Kathy, but I can tell you a lot of people had it. I mean, not issues, but like, she could be difficult. Both my mom and my aunt stood their ground on stuff. They had strong beliefs about things. They were women with strong convictions, and they stood up with it. My mom, and she would say this, she'd say, you know, she'd say, men can in our society, my mom would, she believed this her whole life. And I think it's true. I think it's 100% true. She'd say, men can have strong opinions and strong convictions, and they're strong men. But women have strong opinions and strong convictions, and they're bitches. And my aunt would say that's so true. My mom and my aunt were very similar about that, on their strong opinions and their strong beliefs and things like that. We watched RuPaul's Drag Race last night, and Liza Minnelli was on it, and I totally forgot until we were watching it. I looked at Alex and I said, we met her. And he goes, we met Liza Minnelli. I totally forgot about it. So we used to go to this thing every year because Alex's old bosses, like, they're on the board or something of the Palladium in Carmel. So if you don't know what the Palladium is, it's like this huge concert place. It's gorgeous. A lot of people come there. It's not like where Taylor Swift, well, she might, I don't know, but she couldn't, I mean, it'd be too small for her. I mean, it's a huge pavilion, but it's like Sting came there. They have like symphonies there. It's very pretty inside. But they do this thing every year called, we haven't gone in years, the American Songbook. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And it's ran by Michael Feinstein, who is apparently Liza Minnelli's best friend. Well, every year they give, like, I think it was the first year. We went like the first couple of years. Every year they give like awards to like 2 celebrities. And the first year that we went to like this dinner first. That was like 30 of the people that were there. And we were like 1 of 30 people. And it was Liza Minnelli and Rita Moreno from Fame, I think. And so, or not Rita Moreno, but not from, which, was she in, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. What's that song? Do you know what I'm talking about? My mom loved that musical. Anyway, so I said to Alex, I said, I want to meet Liza Minnelli. Like, listen, I'm a Judy Garland super fan. Like, I'm not a super fan of Liza Minnelli. I do like her. Her Pet Shop Boys album is one of my favorites, but I love Judy Garland. Like, I want to meet Liza Minnelli. Liza Minnelli is like, I mean, she is. She is like God of entertainment. I wanted to meet her. So they were walking out at the end. Alex knew Michael Feinstein because of who he worked through. So he introduced me to Michael Feinstein, and then Michael introduced us to Liza Minnelli. She was very, very nice, and Rita Moreno. So we got to meet Liza Minnelli and Rita Moreno. And that's so weird. And what's weirder is that I forgot until we were watching RuPaul's Drag Race last night. So anyway, when we were watching it, I was like, I remember, this is how I remembered it, right? Because they put her in this chair, and she sat in this chair on RuPaul's Drag Race, and they gave her a Lifetime Achievement Award. And so, I was like, oh my god, Alex, like, it just kind of came out, like, and I totally forgot we even met her. The more I thought about it, I was like, we've actually met quite a few celebrities, and I forget about it. But I said, do you remember we met Liza Minnelli? And I was like, we met Liza Minnelli. He's like, yeah, at the American Songbook thing. I go, okay, good. So I'm not just, he's like, no, we met her. And I said, do you remember who she reminded me of? He goes, oh, she's a dead ringer for your Aunt Kathy. Liza Minnelli and her haircut and everything, I mean, now, looks, well, I mean, she looks older than my aunt now because she's old. I think she's older than my aunt was when she passed. But she and my Aunt Kathy look so much alike, which is crazy. But anyway, yeah, I'm a Judy Garland super fan because I loved the movie The Wizard of Oz when I was growing up. Like, loved the movie. Like, know every line from it. Like, obsessively. I was, like, obsessed with The Wizard of Oz when I was a little kid. Probably because I wanted to escape. Which is interesting to me because then when I found out later, do you know there's, like, tons of gay books and gay movies all, like, with references to The Wizard of Oz. People loved Judy Garland. I think Judy Garland died on June 28th, and my birthday's June 29th, and it's one of the, I think the Stonewall riots happened, like, right around that, or she died, and then it was, like, the day after she died or something. Judy Garland death, hold on. It's right around my birthday that she died. Judy Garland death. Ow! Damn it. Garland death. June 22nd. I want to look up Judy Garland death and Stonewall, because there's some association with it, I know. Stonewall. It already pulled it up. That's so crazy. What's behind the myth Judy Garland's death caused Stonewall? There isn't enough to prove that Judy Garland's funeral specifically fueled the riots. Judy Garland, Stonewall, debunking a decades-old myth. I had heard that, too. I've seen documentaries about it, so I guess there's no truth to it. But anyway, but there's actually a lot that's been written about, like, Frank Baum's books, The Wizard of Oz, and that, like, Dorothy coming to Oz. And then, like, the movie of it turning black and white to in Technicolor is really about, what do you call it? Like, the coming out experience and meeting people. I think I've shared this on here before, but I started a book years ago. I mean, at this point, it was when I worked in treatment, like, my first couple years. So at this point, it's been like 29, 30 years. I'm never going to write the book, so I should share with you because it's a fantastic title. The title is Surrender to Technicolor. And it's about this girl that escapes from treatment program, and basically it's like based around like The Wizard of Oz. And it's called Surrender to Technicolor. But anyway, like Surrender to Dorothy. Surrender to, if you've seen the movie, they paint in the sky, Surrender Dorothy. And it's all told around this whole thing. I actually have quite a bit of it written. I don't even know where it is. I'd have to find it in the basement. Would anybody be interested in hearing me read it? If you're interested in that, let me know, and I will find it. And then I have a lot of my writing, and I'll read some of it on my Peter Likes Books channel. For those of you that always ask about my book, my entire book is over there on a playlist. The playlist doesn't say my book. The playlist says the before now. I think this is why people don't know. It's called The Before, Now, and After Then. That's the name of my book. If you want to listen to me read it, I read like 2 or 3 chapters a night. So anyway, okay. So we went to Alex's aunt and uncle's house. They did a beautiful spread. It was so pretty. So this was everything they had. So they had fruit, and then like these mozzarella sticks, taquito things. And then he made 2 quiches, Costco mac and cheese. Somebody messaged me because I put up a picture of it. You'll see my plate. I had a little piece of quiche, garlic bread, which I ended up giving to Alex because I didn't want. And, oh, what picture did he put up? Oh, he put the family picture up. There I am, holding Preciosa. Where is mine? Oh, Alex's mom. Oh, she put up the same picture. Oh, did she put up a picture of me specifically? No, but I'm in the picture. Okay, so here's my picture. Somebody tagged me in this about Miriam's coffee, which I think Amy did. So thank you, Amy. I thought that was so sweet. And then here's Betty and Bean. I love them so much. And then here's that Benji dog that I was talking about that's doing much better. And then Less Than 24 Hours to Sister Wives. It's on tonight. Oh, here's the squirrel that I filmed, because I'm officially a squirrel channel. That should be my thumbnail. And then here's me with Preciosa. And I put on here, love her. This is our niece, not our new dog, just for clarification, because people will be like, oh my God, you got a new dog. No, we did not get a new dog. Oh, and then here was my Easter meal that I got, minus the fruit, because I had fruit on there too. Well, there's some pineapple on there, but I got other fruit. So people are like, are you at Caroline's house? No, we were at Aunt and Uncle's house. Their house is so cute. So anyway, Alex's uncle takes pride in a couple things, but one of them is how he cooks, because he loves it, and that's what he does for a living. And the other thing is he takes pride in their outside, their yard, okay, especially in the spring and summertime. So, oh, and he also made a strawberry cake, homemade strawberry cake. So good. It was so good. He goes, Peter, he kept on saying to Alex's aunt, he goes, Peter wants coffee. I go, you want coffee? He goes, well, of course. And I said, when are we breaking out the strawberry cake? He goes, when the coffee is made. So he went in there and he made coffee, and then we sat at the kitchen table and that. Anyway, so when we got there, who is that? When we got there, Carlos and Liliana, the kids, were not there. I can't remember how. Anyway, I sat outside with Alex's uncle, and their yard is beautiful. So when you walk out, they have like two patios. They have a patio, and then a patio that comes with the house, but like they've redone it, and that has a gazebo over it. And then they have another patio that like steps up where they put like a dining room table, a patio table, and stuff like that. And then they have this huge yard that's kind of like the size of Tanya's yard. So we're sitting there, and he had one of those like double shepherd hooks things with bird feeders on it. And all these birds were coming out. And I said, oh my God, I'm loving it. I said, I just ordered some of those. He goes, you did? He goes, oh my God, I love them for the bird. He's got bird feeders all over his yard. And he goes, Alex's grandma comes out here and she just sits in like what, because she lives with them. He's like, she just sits here and watches the birds and the squirrels all day long. And I said, because I ended up getting, the ones I ordered are 60 inches. I'm like wondering if that's going to be too tall. I don't know. Look, I think it's going to be too tall, maybe. And we'll figure it out. But I said, a couple people told me on my videos, because when I talked about it on my videos, so a couple people reached out to me and said, I need the hooks for over the tree branches to hang the bird trays. So I bought the hooks. But I also bought 2 of those shepherd hooks. You know what I'm talking about? They look like the shepherd things that people used to do in the nativity scenes at church. The battery just went to the halfway mark. So I bought 2 of those as well. But people are like, oh no, those are too low to the ground. They're not in a tree. Birds won't use them. He goes, that's a lie. He goes, the birds love them. He has it literally out in the middle of his yard. And I said, the other thing is that people said that birds are going to have a hard time, like they don't know right away that that's where they're supposed to come eat, so it takes them a while to kind of get used to it. He goes, that is true. He goes, when I put those out there, he goes, now the birds, they're there all day long. He goes, but at first they didn't know that. So anyway, it was really, really nice. We had a good time. The kids were hilarious, telling us stories about school, talked to Carlos. Oh, then Carlos came outside. He was sitting with us too. So we caught up with everybody. Alex's mom and I were laughing so hard about stuff. We were talking about, so Jessie and Fufu are coming out at the beginning of June to come and visit with like her family, and then they're going to come down here and visit with everybody here. So we are no longer going to San Diego. If we go, it'll be like probably late fall that we would go to San Diego for a long weekend. But since they're coming, we're not going to go to San Diego anymore. So, yeah, so it was just a really wonderful Easter. It was beautiful outside. I'm kind of rushing through the story now because, well, you know what? Let me just go get another battery because I'll be rushing until it flashes. So let me go get another battery now, and I will finish with Easter and talk about last night, and I will be back in 2 and 2. Okay, I'm back. New battery. It is silent. Shh. Don't tell a soul. Shh. Secrets. I'm gonna use that as a thumbnail. It is silent inside. It's so quiet inside, which means I think that he's probably falling asleep, which might be for the night. And he said to me, did I talk about this already? That on the way home, or right before we left, he was like, I might sleep. I can't remember when it was, but anyway. And then he was like, he goes, I might go to bed for the night. I go, okay. And then he was like, but we have Atlanta. And I go, well, Atlanta's not on till later, so we probably won't watch it till tomorrow anyway. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. And he goes, well, we got Traders UK. I go, okay. I'm planning on taking a nap and reading. I didn't read at all last night, really. I listened to my audiobook, but I didn't read, so I'm planning on reading tonight. But anyway, first of all, I just want to tell you that I did wear this very nice shirt that I got with Tanya Jean. I wore this very nice shirt that I took to Mexico and did not wear, not once. But I wanted to do my hair. I did not do my hair. My mother, if she were still alive, would be like, did you really wear a hat to Easter? But I was like, I knew that nobody would care. Alex always dresses really nice. I mean, everybody always does. His uncle always dresses really nice. But I knew, like, it's very relaxed. And so I was like, I'm wearing jeans and I have these Birkenstocks on. It's like very casual. I just like, Carlos had a hat on too. So I was like, I knew that nobody would care if I wore a hat. I was just like, at the last minute, I was like, I want to wear a hat today. It's warm outside today. It is really, it's like warm. I didn't even do a time and temperature check yet. It is 7 o'clock. It is 6:42 already. Let's see what the temperature is outside. Oh. Can you even believe it? It's 76 degrees. Last night when I was sitting out here on the phone talking to Tanya and talking to Nikki, there were two when I was talking to Nikki, and another one I think that came back because I put some food out here for it. There was this little bunny rabbit. I go, oh, it is Easter! And it is because it was after midnight. It was Easter and this bunny rabbit kept on coming by. Okay, so last night, I took a long walk last night. Not as long as the night before, but I think it was like an hour and 31 minutes. I was very proud of myself. I was like, nope, go, take a walk, go take a walk. So I took a walk last night. I was very proud of myself. And yeah, so it's 2 nights in a row, and I am planning on walking tonight. So the walking is going to be back. Okay, so I ended the weight loss journey on my Peter Dustuff channel. So I don't want to talk, like, I mean, I'll share updates and stuff over here, but I also don't want this channel to become about that, where I'm like, okay, then because what'll happen is, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to stop it on my Peter Dustuff channel is, oh, my neighbors, their kids are leaving, or their daughter's leaving with grandkids for Easter. One of the reasons why I stopped doing it was I started feeling like I had to get online and like report on what was going on and whatever. And it just didn't feel like real natural to me anymore. And so I want to share stuff when I'm feeling it, but I don't also want to get to the point where I have to be like, because I know this will happen. If I don't talk about walking for 2 or 3 days, people will be like, is he walking anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like, but like, I also don't want this to turn into like a daily update about I just got to figure it out for myself. But one of the things I do want to sit down and do tonight is, especially since I'm back into the walking again, is I really want to sit down and I really want to start this week as well with the weightlifting. I've been doing better with the eating. There's like 1 or 2 days where either I don't eat great things or my portion control is not good. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good on the eating. I really am. I'm making better choices and things like that. And I have been for a while, you know. It was interesting because I did a Peter Dustuff video, or a review video, and I got like the 4 cheese pasta from Cheesecake Factory. Oh, there she is. She's going like this to me. I saw you cheating on me. I saw you cheating on me. Well, you were walking down there and you had a package in your house, and your husband came back from where you were walking the other day. He had a package in his house. She's laughing now. I don't see you bringing me any packages. Are you ready for the pool to open?
Yeah, if it stays like this.
I know, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Turned the heat on this morning, though, and it was full, so how do you know?
Have they fixed your yard from the gas leak yet?
They did. They came Wednesday afternoon, and they poured a bunch of topsoil down. So we're watering. We'll see what happens.
That was a long walk you took.
Huh?
That was a long walk you took.
I just went around.
I'm joking.
I was talking to people.
Did you see a lot of our neighbors? Did you get any HOA drama?
No.
Nothing good?
Nothing good.
I think we should make up some HOA gossip this year.
I don't want to get in trouble with anybody else.
Who'd you get in trouble? Did you get in trouble?
No. Did you go to church today? It's Easter.
Did I go? No, we didn't go to church today.
Did you say Happy Easter to anybody?
Yeah, I went over to Alex's aunt and uncle's house for Easter. Did you go to church? Oh yeah, you go right up the street, don't you?
Down the street with 5 million other people who show up.
They have like 6 services there, don't they, or something?
Well, no, they got 3 today.
Did you go with all your grandkids and everybody?
Yeah,
Well, hi.
we got them all there. All right.
Well, happy Easter.
Oh, thank you. Happy Easter to you.
Did you have Easter dinner?
Huh?
Did you have Easter dinner?
We had it down at my daughter's on the south side.
Oh, that's nice.
It was like a lunch brunch type of deal.
Did you have ham?
No, the kids don't like ham.
Turkey?
Nope. Pulled pork sandwich.
Oh, no.
We had a Kentucky.
Have a good one. I can't wait to go up to the pool every day with you.
I know, I'm ready.
I know, me too. She's so hilarious. She's, okay, so what is going on? Can we talk about why it's on my camera? Hello. I have all these retired school teachers that live in my neighborhood, and this is what's so funny about them, right? Like, she is a retired Catholic school teacher, okay? My neighbor in the corner that she lives next to, retired Catholic school teacher. My neighbor next door, Catholic, not a retired Catholic school teacher, retired public school administrator, okay? They are so snarky. They are three of the most hilarious people that you've ever met in your entire life. I love them so much. They are so hilarious. This one over here, okay, you wanna know why she left the book club? This one I was just talking to. So they have a book club, okay? They have like 3 book clubs in the neighborhood. The one that my neighbor next door, she's not in it, I don't think, anymore. She joined another one. The one in my corner, she's in a book club, but it's not like in this neighborhood. It's like 4 women that she's been friends with for like 20 years, or maybe one of them lives outside this neighborhood. I don't know, but she remember the one day she was walking by here. Anyway, the one that's like this wine and read book club or something, it's like 8 women in the neighborhood and the outside neighborhood as well. So she said, she came the first time with a pitcher of margaritas, and she said, I don't like wine. I brought my own, and she brought a plastic margarita cup. And she said, y'all are going to enjoy your wine, so I'm going to have a margarita. And they got real upset, and they were like, no, it's like wine. And she thought they were joking. Like, she didn't think it was serious. And then, like, the next day, they, like, texted her. Like, this woman texted her and was like, we're going to ask that next time, like, it's a wine and reading book, that you either, like, adhere to the rules, or maybe, like, this isn't the reading group for you. I don't know how they said it, but anyway, she told us at the pool. I said, what'd you do? She goes, I didn't go back to that reading group. She goes, I'm going to drink a margarita. I don't drink wine. She goes, I like tequila and a margarita. I don't like wine. I said, you need to find yourself a tequila and reading a book club. She goes, I might start one. She's real funny. They're all hilarious. It just cracks me up. And they all have 100,000 stories about the Catholic Church and just like funny things that, you know, like you would never even think of. Like growing up in the Catholic Church. Like not bad stuff necessarily, but like just funny things. And they're always talking about bishops and nuns and the archdiocese and all this stuff that like you feel like I'm watching like a TV show in New York City about all the, you know what I'm talking about? But, like, they all, like, worked under nuns as teachers. So they're always talking about, and they'll be like, did you know Sister Josephine? Oh, I knew Sister Josephine. And they'll, like, where did you work with her? And they'll be like, oh, I worked at her with, like, this school. And they're like, oh, well, I worked with her at, you know, St. Joan of Arc. And they'll be like, oh, no, at St. Joan of Arc, when I worked there, I worked under, you know, St. Agnes. And they're like, oh, or Sister Agnes. Did I say Saint? Sister Agnes. And they're like, Sister Agnes had retired by the time that I was there. It's so funny to hear these stories. I just eat it up. I love it. So anyway, so last night I took my walk, hour and 31 minutes, was very proud of myself. The night before it was like almost an hour and 45, I think it was like an hour and 42 or hour and 43 minutes. But you know what, an hour and a half is good. So, but this is what I was going to say, starting this week, my nose is itching me so crazy. I knew I needed to trim this part around here and I didn't do that, so then sometimes anyway. But I did take my allergy medicine today. So, tonight, I want to write down, you know, I have all these notes from the physical therapist and everything like that. I got to be really specific when I go to the grocery store this next time. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Somebody on my review video said, I ordered the Adams cheesecake from Cheesecake Factory, because I'd done this previous cheesecake, and I said that was my favorite one. And I ordered the 4-cheese pasta because I was talking about how Nikki had ordered it, and then that was one of my favorite things too. So I ordered them and I did to review. And somebody commented and they said, oh, there's her husband now. Where's he going? And they said, first of all, this isn't a review. Or they said, is this just an excuse now that you stopped your weight loss journey to feed into your food addiction. Which, what a shitty comment, right? Okay, I think we can all agree on that. Like, that's a little dark, don't you think? Okay, I mean, I know I have a food addiction, and I know I just stopped my, but okay, anyway, like, I don't think, if I want to look for reasons to eat, I'm gonna do it, okay? I'm 52 years old. I don't have to come up with video ideas for a reason to feed into my food addiction. Let's just put it that up. If I want to go to the grocery store or DoorDash, $100 worth of potato chips and sit in there and eat every single one of them, I don't need to look up for a reason for a video idea, okay? The fact that somebody would think that that's scandalous. But then they said, oh, and by the way, it's not a review because you've already tried it. I was like, why are you even watching this video? It makes you so unhappy. You're so unhappy watching this video. But anyway, but it did make me think. No, it didn't make me think at all, except for that I was wondering, why is this person watching a video that they obviously so can't stand with this video topic or the person presenting the information? In my PowerPoint review of cheesecake and pasta, which was, by the way, delicious. But I was like, you know what? I need to go through tonight, and I need to, like, schedule it and plan it, and I need to stick to it. Because one of the things was that when I did stop the weight loss journey, I was like, I'm going to stop filming it, but I'm not stopping it. And I think one of my fears was, because I had gained weight back. I've talked about that on here, that I gained like 20 plus pounds back. I think one of my fears was like, one of the reasons why I didn't want to stop it, but I was like, you're not continuing with it, and it's pointless to do it, and now get on there and be like, well, I've gained 20 pounds, and then, you know, a week later be like, yay, I lost 1.2 pounds. I mean, I didn't want to do all that again. I didn't want to do the shenanigans with it again. I just didn't. And so, and I didn't really, like, I know at that point, I felt like I was just doing it, like, and I don't know, but I just didn't want to do it anymore. But one of the fears of being like, okay, I'm not doing the weight loss journey anymore, was that, I mean, listen, baby, I get body shamed on the daily. That don't bother me. I'm 52 years old. Call me fat. I don't care, okay? I know what I look like when I'm in the mirror naked, okay? Trust me. I know I'm not a couture fashion model. I know I'm not 25 years old. Hell, there's some 70-year-olds that look better than me, okay? I know. Listen, you're gonna call me out about my old... Somebody wanted to call me out the other day about, I don't know, wrinkles on my face and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, you think I don't know that there's wrinkles on my face? Baby, I earned all those. Who was I watching the other day and I was like, he is so handsome and he has wrinkles on his face. He has wrinkles on his face. Well, that does happen as you get older. It does happen as you get older. You get wrinkles in your face, your hair starts turning colors. I just embrace that. I'm not embarrassed of it at all. You know, I thought I would be. I thought I would be that person that would be embarrassed of it. That's why I always share stuff about, you know, that I had Botox and I stopped having it and all kind of, it's a lot to keep up with. I colored my hair for a long time and then I stopped. It's a lot to keep up with. I do the things that make me happy today. If somebody chooses to do that stuff and it makes them happy, I think they should do it. You know, I think you should do whatever you want to do. You know, you want to go do this, you want to do that, you want to get Botox, you want to be on the shot, do what makes you happy. I know what makes me happy, you know, but I know what doesn't make me happy, and that's being 265, and that's, or heavier, and that scares the hell out of me. It also scares me from a health point of view. So ending the weight loss journey, like being aware of it, looking back over my past videos and deciding that I was going to stop it, I was like, are you going to gain all this weight back? Like, are you going to prove all these people true that are like, okay, it wasn't even about that, right? But like in my head, I'm like, that was my fear, you know? It's like, now that you have no accountability, like, are you then going to gain all this weight back? Which I think is why in the last week I've really kind of like stepped into the walking a little bit more. Plus I miss it and it's nicer outside. So I was like, okay, going into Monday tonight, when you get back from your walk tonight, you need to sit down and be like, I mean, I've already got all this stuff that I know what to do, you know? I'm like, you just have to start doing it. You have to schedule it. I'm gonna lift weights these days. I'm gonna walk at least an hour to 2 hours every single day. And I'm just gonna be structured with it. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make better choices when I go to the grocery store. I've been making better choices, but there's still, you know, a few things here and there. Maybe allow myself to DoorDash once or twice a week instead of, you know what I mean? Like, or eat bad, whatever. I mean, even when we go to Cafe Patachou, you know, like even today when we were at his aunt and uncle's house, like I had like a small, like 2 pieces of quiche and then like a little bit of macaroni and cheese. That was it. And some fruit. I mean, I didn't make good choices today. I know people are gonna be like, macaroni and cheese. I had like maybe like a half a cup compared to 2 years ago. I would have had half a plate, you know what I mean? At Caroline's or his aunt and uncle's house. So, but I've got to stick to it. I've got to. And I'm committed to it. It scares me to say that because I'm like, I know somebody's going to throw that at my face in a month from now. I know they are. They're like, Peter, now you're saying you've gained 10 more pounds. It's scary, you know, but Anyway, I don't want to, this is the thing I don't want to do. I don't want to turn my vlog into every day and like I walked this much, I walked that much, or I've lost. I don't want to take the weight loss journey and put it over here. I don't want to do that. I'll probably talk a little bit about it, but what I need to do is, I really want to take it. I probably should have said this in my weight loss journey last video. I really want to implement all those things just into my daily life. I want it to become my life, part of my lifestyle. I don't want it to just be this thing that I'm doing to lose weight and to get healthy. Like, I just want to implement it into my life. So anyway, so last night walked and then took a real quick shower, put pajamas on, and then Alex and I watched RuPaul's Drag Race, and then, which was like an hour and a half, but I mean, we fast forward through the commercials. I know some people probably haven't watched it yet, so I don't want to ruin it. I'll be honest with you. Well, first of all, I was very happy with the winner. I think the winner was who was supposed to win. I would have been happy with any of the 4 that won. I will say this for anybody that's watched it, because I know people, I'm not going to do a video about it. My Peter watches TV video. They did it differently this year. They said they liked their original songs, but you could tell they were like RuPaul produced songs. I didn't like that. I like the lip syncing for your life kind of thing. Anyway, so then it came down to like, there was 4 of them. RuPaul narrowed it down to the final 2. Somebody that was in the bottom 2, I thought would have been in the top 2. I will just say that. And I thought deserved to be in the top 2. But I understand why RuPaul made the top 2 who they were. People online are complaining about who they thought won the lip sync. Go back and watch that lip sync. One person had reveal after reveal after reveal. And I think we live in this world now where like a fantastic drag queen is somebody that throws wigs off and does splits and does death drops. Baby, that don't make a great drag queen for me. A great drag queen for me is somebody that embraces the song. And the person that had no reveals or anything, first of all, I didn't think the person that had all the reveals, and I like that person, but I didn't think that their reveals were that amazing anyway. What I did love was the one person that didn't make the top 4 that had like 6 reveals. As she stood there and she knew she didn't make the top 4, she started taking everything off, showing her reveals. I lived for that, okay? She's like, no, I paid too much for this. I'm showing these reveals, right? But anyway, the people online were like, oh, she didn't win. The person that won didn't win the lip sync, all this kind of stuff. First of all, she won the season, okay? She 100% won the season. And I liked the other person that she was up against, but I didn't think her lip sync was any better than the other person. I will tell you, my husband thought that the other person won, and I was like, I don't think it comes down to this anyway. And I thought the top 4 were all good, and I think I thought there was like 3. Okay, this is what I thought. The person that won, I thought was like heads and tails better than the other 3 and should have won. The other 3, I would have been fine with any 3 of them being number 2 or winning if it was just them in the final 3. I thought they could have all won for different reasons, is what I thought. But anyway, so we watched that last night, and then the night before, no, that would have been Friday. That was when he was at his girlfriend's house. The other night, I can't remember what night it was, but we started watching Traitors UK, the new season. Did I even talk about this on here? So we started watching Traitors UK. I didn't even know it was out. I think I did talk to you guys about this because Alex was like, do you want to watch Traitors? I was like, and it was the night we were going to watch The Valley, and he doesn't really want to watch it. And he goes, we have Traitors. And I go, New Zealand? And we haven't even finished watching that season because it's so bad. He goes, no, the new UK. I said, the whole season's out? So we started watching it. Baby, last night we got halfway through that season. I mean, we got halfway through that season. So, yeah, and then I ended up talking to Tanya and Nikki, and that was like 2.5 hours of my life. And then I was like, okay, I want to watch a show. I thought I was further than I was in this 9 bodies in a Mexican morgue. So, or maybe I didn't, I don't know. But I had 4 episodes left. So, by the time that I got inside, I listened to my audiobook quite a bit last night too. And, folded laundry and lit the candles and all that kind of stuff. It just was real relaxing. But I watched episode 3, 4, and 5, so I have 1 episode left of 9 Bodies in a Mexican Morgue. It is really good. I will say, like, it's not the most well-written show. It kind of reminds me of, like, Clue or something like that. It's these people that go down in a plane, like this small plane in the middle of nowhere, Mexico, in this forest, and the show starts after there's 10 people on the plane, and 9 of them are dead. And they have their bodies. So you don't know who makes it out alive, or why they made it out alive, or are they killing the other people? You don't know anything about it. So then it goes back to day 1 with the plane crash, and it goes all the way through. And so it's kind of like a whodunit. It's really good. Like, I watched the end of the 5th episode last night, and the last person gets killed. And they can see the killer, but you don't know who the killer is, because they have, like, a hood over their head. So you're going to find that out in the 6th episode. I have an idea I know who it is, but anyway, it's good. I mean, do I think it's the best show, the best acting in the entire world? No. Do I think it's definitely binge-worthy? Yeah. I'll tell you, it kind of reminds me a little bit, if you like the humor, which I think this show's about to come back, if you like the humor of Poker Face, it kind of reminds me of that, which I want to ask somebody this. I looked on Peacock the other day, and it only had 1 season of Poker Face. Hasn't Poker Face been out 2 seasons? Or did it have a split first season, and that's what I'm thinking? Has it only been 1 season of Poker Face, or has there been 2, and this is the 3rd season coming out? Why did I think my nose was itching so crazy? Or maybe it was a split season, and they consider it just 1 season. I don't know. But anyway, the humor in it kind of reminds me of Poker Face a little bit. I don't really know any of the actors in it. The main guy is not who I thought it was from the poster. Hold on a second. The main guy is somebody famous, but I mean, some of the actors have been in other stuff. 9 Bodies. It's on MGM, so wherever you can watch MGM, because people have been asking me that. 9 Bodies in a Mexican. I cannot remember this guy's name or what he's been in. Hold on a second. Eric McCormack. Here he is in the show. Do you guys know this guy? You would know him. He's been in this guy. How do I know him? What has he been in? Was it Will and Grace? It was Will and Grace. Why did I just figure that out? Because I didn't hardly ever watch Will and Grace. Is he that much older than me? He was born in '63. He's like 9 years older than me. I didn't know that. He's 62 years old. God, I did not know that. Anyway, so he's like the main star in it. And then there's a bunch of other people. It's good. So I watched that last night and then blew out the candles and went to bed. And that was my night last night. And my night tonight is going to be that when I go inside, if Alex is asleep, he must have fallen asleep and like, I don't know, not turn the fan on or anything. But anyway, if I go upstairs and he's asleep, I'll ask him, be like, if I walk in the bedroom, like Alex can wake up real easily. He's like a light sleeper. He'll like wake up kinda, like a third of the way. And then I'll be like, are you gonna sleep through the night? He's like, uh-huh. Then I'll probably take a nap. And then as I'm like uploading the vlog, no, I'll probably take a walk and then come back, take a shower. And I might take a nap after that. But if he's up when I get back from my walk, then, we'll watch Traitors. If not, I got Sister Wives tonight, baby. Sister Wives is coming back. I got Sister Wives, and I got 9 Bodies in a Mexican Morgue. I have 1 episode of that left. And then I think I'm going to start that show, the something dome, the glass dome or whatever. Is that what it's called? Globe or dome that Tony told me to watch. And then what are my other weekly shows? Do I have any other Sunday shows that are on tonight? I haven't watched The Valley or Hacks yet. I might wait and binge those. Alex said he'd binge watch. I'll probably watch The Valley, but Hacks, I might wait to binge watch all that. So we'll see. Or I might watch them tonight and get completely caught up. What is this? Oh my lord. That's like a grown adult. One of those like, do you know what I'm talking about? One of those like, looks like a skateboard, but it's got like a motor on it. Do you know what I'm talking about? One of those things. Anyway. Whew. I've been vlogging for a long time. I'm gonna get off here now. I hope you guys are having, let's check the temperature tomorrow. Now that I know that I have nothing to do. Oh, they're power washing the houses tomorrow. Did I tell you guys that? Because they couldn't come on Saturday because it was raining. What's tomorrow gonna be? Ooh, 77. Oh, looks like it's gonna thunderstorms like, oh no, that's today? What time? Thunderstorms likely. Doesn't look like any rain at all. There's the game. I don't know this game. Thunderstorms at 2 a.m. Then rain. And tomorrow it looks like it's going to be sunny all day. Monday, 65. Some clouds early will give way to generally clear conditions overnight. Oh god, the temperature's supposed to get really nice this week. Tuesday, 74. Wednesday, 80. Thursday, 82. Then it goes down to 60 on Saturday. 66 on Sunday. 70s, 60s, 70s, 60s. But anyway, tomorrow they are coming to power wash the house. Depending on how loud that is, will depend on how many videos I have filmed. But I do have all my videos scheduled, or not scheduled. I have all my videos planned out for tomorrow, what I'm doing. So, on all of my channels. So depending on what time I get up and what time Alex comes home from work will have a lot to do with my filming schedule tomorrow. I may get up just a vlog and I may get up 7 videos tomorrow. Who knows? I guess you'll find out tomorrow. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a magically amazing Sunday. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. If nobody else, I hope you're getting relaxed, renewed, rejuvenated, and refreshed for the week ahead. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you guys. If you made it this far in the video for summer and the sunshine, put something yellow, some yellow emoji, or just a word, I don't know. Put something yellow in the comment section below. You can't put the word yellow, okay? So you have to put like mustard or chicken or canary or something like that. Or you can put an emoji. I would prefer a yellow emoji, okay? But if you can't put emojis in the comment section, just put something yellow, like lemon. That would be good, because you know, when life hands you a lemon, you watch Peter Vlogs. That should be my commercial. Anyway, I love you guys so much, and be kind to one another. Be kind to yourself, most of all. Love one another outside of the Big Brother house. I'm Peter Monn. Love one another, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya. I love you too. Happy birthday, Lena.